focusing on myself before altering myself, if that makes sense. Hi, welcome back to another vlog. I know it's been a minute and I always say that every single time, but I just, you know, I'm even off social media right now. But I thought I would pick up the camera because I am doing something very huge and y'all know I love documenting this stuff. So yeah, as y'all just saw, I just finished cleaning my apartment because I will be gone for a minimum of a week. Probably 2, just depending on how recovery goes, but I'm getting my boobs done. Now we are at a point in my life where I am beginning my surgical transition journey, which is mostly the part that everyone is like interested in anyways, so I thought, why not pick up the camera for my first procedure? So I am heading to Houston tonight. I went with Eisman Plastic Surgery Center in Houston, Texas. Obviously, my family has a home in Houston, so it's easy for me, and yeah. And I have surgery tomorrow. Hi guys, I'm checking back in. I'm still on my way to Houston. It's been so chaotic today. Just like trying to get my house in order so that way when like I finally get back, like it's clean and I don't have to worry about it. And then my parents placed an order at Aloe for me to pick up some stuff.
Miles. Continue on I-10 east toward Houston.
I should be there in about an hour. But yeah, I promise. I guess right now, if anything, is the time to talk about it. So, I mean, as most of y'all know, like, transitioning is exactly that. It's like a transition, and like, everyone goes at their own pace. Anyone who knows me knows that I am very particular and I take my time, especially now that I'm older. I don't make as many, well, it's not 100% true. I try not to make so many rash decisions in my life, but for the most part, like, everything in my life is pretty much very well thought out, and I've taken the time to make sure that I'm moving intentionally. And so I just think it was time. Like, I've been medically transitioning, like hormone replacement therapy, mental health therapy, gender identity therapy. I've been in all of that for 3 years now. Consistently 3 years. Because back in 2018, I was like getting off my parents' insurance, and so it was like I kind of went through like the public programs and the programs available to me at college or in college, like the mental health, the counseling center at UTSA, and going through all of that process. But yeah, it's been like really just a journey that I've tried my best to document as well as I can. I think I did a better job at it like when I first started transitioning, and I just kind of like reverted back to like the beginning where I just kind of kept it to myself and did it on my own and didn't really tell anyone except the people that I love, you know, because like with the whole hormone replacement therapy, it's kind of boring. Like once you're on it, like you just kind of like play with your doses to make sure that you're like at a level that makes sense and you're like responding well to it. I think hormone replacement therapy was very easy for me compared to others, because I know a lot of people go through like a lot of mental stuff with it. A little background about me, not me sharing my medical history, but since I was a child, like around like, you know, the age where you hit puberty, I was like what they considered like a late bloomer, and then technically I kind of never really bloomed because whenever, you know, like obviously like my siblings were like going through puberty and my parents were noticing certain things, and then with me they weren't noticing certain things, so it was like, what's going on? We went to go see specialists, and come to find out that my body has always, since I was young, naturally produced more estrogen than testosterone. And whenever they found that out, they were like, we can put your child on testosterone, these are the effects and all of this stuff. And my parents decided not to put me on testosterone. They said that they would let me make that decision once I got older. And I never really thought about it until I started like questioning my identity and stuff like that. Whenever I got out of my very long-term relationship, there was conversations within that relationship that were about me possibly being trans, or like identifying as something else, because like it just kind of made sense. Like I think I like embodied femininity so well. He was picking up like that I was like unhappy with a lot of different aspects of my life, and he was obviously coming from a place of like love and wanting what's best for me and making sure I'm happy, and which is very valid, because I mean, I think a big aspect, not a big aspect, but I know on my part of the downfall of that relationship very much had to do with me not being happy with myself or my life, because like I really just didn't know who I was at that time. When I ended that relationship, that's when I first had, that was like in 2018, and I sought out mental health therapy, but then also kind of was like bouncing between mental health therapy and gender identity therapy, just because like I wanted to explore that, because like it just, like the way we would talk about it, like things were just making sense that this could possibly be what was going on. And so I did, and then 2019 is when I officially like said out loud that like, oh yeah, like I'm trans, like I very much see myself more as a woman versus a man. And what's crazy is that like back then, before I started transitioning, I always like hated I always hated when people would ask me questions about like, oh, like where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? And I think I said this in my article with the Skinny Confidential, that I hated that question, because it's like, I don't know, because like I can't even picture myself now. Like whenever I look in the mirror, like I'm not really confident or sure of the person that I'm looking back at. So it was kind of like jarring to think like, oh, well, where do you see this person in 5 years? Because it was like, I don't know, because I don't even know that person that I'm looking at. That's a different story now, obviously. Like I know where I see my life, and I think like once I came to this conclusion, like things just kind of like clicked and things started making sense. Where did I see myself? What did I want for my life? And I got excited about my life, and I got happy about my life, and I'm just like so much more confident with every aspect of my life now, that it's just crazy to think that like really taking the time to figure out who you are and what you're about is like so life-changing, you know? But anyways, that's a little rundown of like my transition story. There's a full article on the Skinny Confidential, which I will link down below. I think it's linked in my other videos, but I'll link it down below so you guys can like really, I dive deep into like where I was at in my life and stuff like that, and how we got here like more in depth. And I forever love that article. Point in my life where I'm ready to take the next step with my transition, which would obviously be like my surgical procedures, and that's where we're at. So this is procedure number 1. I haven't fully decided about bottom surgery. Facial feminization surgery scares the hell out of me, but also I really don't think I need it. Like, every plastic surgeon that I've talked to about it has said that they don't really think that I need it. Like, my features aren't really harsh, and I don't need much revision. I think there's just small tweaks that I could do here and there, but I'm like, is it worth it to do that? I don't know. And then of course bottom surgery, again, I haven't really decided if I'm gonna go through with that, but, and I know this may be like a controversial take, but I do think bottom surgery is something that needs to be discussed with like my lifelong partner, whoever that may be, because that is a really big decision. And I just think that, like, you know, not like, it sounds weird because it's not that like I'm saying like, oh, I'm being fetishized, or like I want to be fetishized, or like that is a very big weighing factor in my life is what goes on down there. This is a weird conversation, but I guess like let's just have it. I just think it's a really big decision that I need to have with my partner. Like, I just think a decision like that, like boobs, it's no big deal, but like that is like a really big decision, just because like all of the research that I've done, it very much is like a lifelong kind of like commitment, obviously, because it's like permanent, but like there's just other aspects to it that like require certain attentions, and it's like my partner would have to be would have to be okay with like some of the things that like needs to be done to be like upkept, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Obviously I'm trying to keep it YouTube appropriate, but yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I just think that like that is something that I want to wait until I have like a partner, so that I can have that conversation with them and see how they feel and go from there. Just because like I think that just says who I am at my core, is that like I do take into consideration those things, or I'm considerate of others, especially people who are like involved with me and stuff like that. It's so funny, I'm like talking about like bottom surgery and saying like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to discuss that with my partner, and I am very much single, so who knows, I don't know. I just like, I think maybe more therapy to discuss that decision needs to be had. I'm interested to hear like if there's any other trans people who are in the same like boat as me where you're at. How do you feel about certain surgeries? I think these are like this is like the biggest like milestones in anyone's transition, are these surgeries. So I'm just like kind of, I've been honestly like, I haven't felt this much anxiety about much in a very long time, and so like it's been really rough these last couple of weeks, dealing with the anxiety leading up to these surgeries. So it's just kind of like, that's why I've been off social media, because it's like I'm so like, ugh, like I'm just like having panic attacks and stuff like that. So I don't know. think I'll pop back onto Instagram probably tomorrow to post that I'm having surgery. I've posted that I pulled the trigger. I just haven't posted when I'm gonna do it. My closest friends obviously know that the surgery's tomorrow, so everyone's been like texting and calling me, so it's been kind of crazy. That's another reason why it's been crazy, because everyone's been texting and calling. So 55 minutes away and I have to pee. Might stop at Buc-ee's. No, I might just drive through. I'm just like wanting to get there just because like my anxiety is just like through the roof. But anyways, I don't know if I'm gonna pick up the camera again tonight or if I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow morning, because like once I get there, I'm probably just going to jump in the shower, because I have to do the sanitizing body wash that they recommend with the Bactration, like the Neosporin or whatever it is, in my like belly button, ears, and nostrils. And I've been doing that like twice a day since, well, I did it once Saturday night and then twice yesterday. I did it once this morning. I have to do it one more time tonight and then one more time in the morning. But tomorrow I am like, I'm able to like take a shower with it and then put like my creams, my moisturizers, my skincare routine. I'm able to do all of that. But tomorrow I can only take a shower and with that soap, and that's it. Like, I'm not supposed to put anything on, which is kind of crazy. My skin's very much just going to crackle and peel off. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to get to my condo in Houston, and I will see you when I pick up the camera back again. Bye, y'all. Hello. It is 11:25. I should be asleep, but my anxiety is way too high. I can no longer drink anything, so I'm like, obviously, I'm like all of a sudden very thirsty, which is like crazy. But I'm in Houston. In a couple of hours, I will be getting my boobs done. I'm a little nervous. It'll be fine. I'm like starting to think like, did I make the right choice? Did I don't know.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Say if you a bad bitch, put your hands up high. Hands up high. Hands up high. Tell them the lights down right now. Put me in the mood. I'm talking about dark moon perfume. Go, go.
I'm so nervous. Here we are. I guess see you when it's done. Hello. Last 24 hours have been insane. Like, insane. But I am post-op. I am in my surgical bra. I'm about to go to my post-op appointment. And yeah, but surgery went well. Everything went smoothly. I think we ended up going a little bit bigger than I wanted, but I had the room to. I've always had kind of like breast, if you will. And then obviously getting on hormone replacement therapy, it just kind of increased my size, so we had a little bit more room to fill. So I think we did 600 cc's, which yeah, it was crazy. But let's take a pain med because I am a little sore. And then of course they're removing this bra and this bandages and then putting me in something else. I think like the compression bra or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm gonna take you guys with me and we'll go from there. Or I'll film on my phone. I have some footage from yesterday on my phone, but yeah, it's time to get ready to go.
Tell me what you think about me. I got my own diamonds and I buy my own rings. Only ring your celly when I'm feeling lonely. When it's all over, please get up and leave. Question, tell me how you feel about this. Try to control me, boy, you get dismissed. Pay my own partner and I pay my own bills. Always 50-50 in relationships. The shoe on my feet, I bought it. The clothes I'm wearing, I bought it. The rock I'm rocking, I bought it. 'Cause I depend on me. If I want it, the watch I'm wearing, I bought it. The house.
Hi guys. So checking in, I am officially like 2 weeks post-op, so I thought I would just like check in, show you guys where I'm at, give you an update. I'm officially 2 weeks post-op, so things have kind of settled, gone down, and I don't feel so crazy. Thought like giving myself some time before I gave an update about everything was what was needed before just jumping in and giving my like initial thoughts, just because like there was a lot of emotions going on with my initial thoughts about everything, and we'll get into it, but here they are. You can't really see them because I'm still supposed to be in a like sports bra. This is like the Skims Nike compression sports bra cami or whatever, and it's very comfortable for when I'm not in something full compression, surgical bras, anything like that. So I thought I would record because it's just a little more comfortable for me to talk and interact right now. But yeah, so surgery went great. I have 2 small incisions. They're about 1.25 inches. Not too big. They're healing very nicely. We did go bigger than what I was expecting. My first initial reaction post-op, obviously I'm not clear-headed, like I'm on pain meds, I was taking my antibiotics, just kind of like trying to get used to the new chest situation. But I think like for the most part, seeing them settled where they are now, I'm happy. I do want them to go down a little bit more, and I think in time they will, just because like I am only 2 weeks post-op. But yeah, my initial thoughts first, right after the surgery, had me questioning. My plastic surgeon did go bigger than what I was expecting, so we ended up going with 2 600cc implants, silicone with a medium-high profile. I initially was under the impression, and what I had agreed on was 495, 500, somewhere around that range. I didn't want to go anything bigger just because like I am a girl who is very active, who loves to work out. I don't want anything to get in my way. But obviously the surgeon is in aesthetics. That's what a plastic surgeon is, so they know best. And to be honest, yeah, my first initial reaction, I was not happy. I was second guessing my choices and what I did. And when I tell you that is not a great headspace to be in, like I was so emotional about it that I was like freaking myself out, and like it just wasn't, I just wasn't happy for the first couple of days. But you know, I was seeing them initially post-op swollen, very high, and I just was like so emotional about it. I thought I messed up my body. Like it was so crazy. But I wrote it out. I talked to my therapist about it, talked to my family about it. And ultimately now where I'm at 2 weeks post-op, I'm happy. Like I'm content. Do I want them to go down a little bit more? Yes, and I know that they will because I'm still very much healing. But we are very much starting to drop and fluff, and like I'm like okay with where I'm at, and I'm content right now. Like I'm like, okay, like if this is it, this is it. But like I am very much aware that they are gonna go down more because they have significantly gone down since surgery. And I'm for that very thankful. So I do think my plastic surgeon made the right call. You know, reading the consent forms, I was aware that like I did sign away my rights to him overriding my decision for aesthetic purposes, just because like this is his work. Like, you know, he's gonna do what's best for me, and I do think he did that. Like I'm satisfied, and I am very thankful that it took me maybe like 2 years to finally pull this trigger, and I'm happy with it. Healing's been up and down, still very sore, still very restricted in movement, but things are moving along perfectly. I just took a couple more days off from work just because like I really wasn't feeling it. For the most part, still very exhausted, still get kind of winded, but I think overall like I'm doing good on the healing front. The incisions look good. I'm just sore, like I said. I've accidentally like lifted my hands above my head a few times, and that is kind of what's really rocked me. Like it's just like the soreness and everything has just made that very difficult to do. But you know, it's part of the healing process. So I'm not used to being so restricted in my movement, so like it's really hard. I am kind of going stir crazy just because, like I said, I'm a very active girly. I love working out. I love going to Pilates. Still not cleared to do that. I think I won't be cleared for another like 2 to 4 weeks depending on the situation. But yeah, I think today was the first day that I noticed that like they're really softening and they're feeling a little more natural. This one's still a little hard and a little bit higher than this one. And again, it's just about trusting the process. I think that was like something that I was like telling myself constantly in the initial healing phase, that I need to trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. But also there was a aspect of my mind that was like, okay, this is reversible, this is fixable. Like I made the choice to have this done, and I can have the, you know, I can make the choice to undo it, fix it, get what I want. Like I am very blessed to have the means to be able to, and the family support to be able to do this. So either way, I was going to be good. But ultimately, I'm happy. I think they look really great. They pretty much right now look like, I think when I first saw them, they were like, I'm trying to like imagine the perfect way to do it. It just looked like I had a Victoria's Secret bombshell on, like 2 of them on, and it was rowdy. But again, like I was tight, they hadn't dropped, they were sitting pretty high. I was like very overwhelmed with everything. And yeah, I think now that they are starting to drop and like, you know, soften and stuff, like I'm very, very excited. Now they're more like if I was like in a semi push-up bra with a chicken cutlet, that's where I'm at now. I want to get to a point where it's like I remove the chicken cutlet, which I feel like that's where we're going. Like this one has dropped and softened a lot more than this one. And I very much like where this is headed. I love that I have more definition. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So again, I had 600cc soft gel silicone implants, medium to high profile. I went over the muscle because I had enough breast tissue to do that, so I wasn't I didn't need to go under the muscle. Typically when you go under the muscle, you don't really have much of a breast pocket to hide the implant. But fortunately for me, I have always kind of had boobs, and so I always like felt like I didn't need a boob job at all until I lost so much weight. So for those who don't know, I used to weigh over 500 pounds. Now I'm around 220, 230. I fluctuate between there. And when I lost all that weight, it literally, like, I just had skin up here. And so that's when I was like, okay, maybe like let me think about getting a boob job to kind of like help with some things. And I think that's very much the approach that I went to with my breast augmentation. Was I went in with a mindset more or less of aesthetics and more of like solution / resolution kind of mindset. Like I wanted the implants to solve some excess skin issues that I was having, and it very much has solved it to a certain extent. The reason why he went bigger was he kept in mind the problems that I was hoping to solve, even though he told me that it probably wasn't possible. But he said whenever he did put in the bigger implant, he did see a significant difference in some of the areas that I wanted to correct. Mainly being like I have excess skin like on the side of my boobs here, and that has significantly gone down. And then also to like my upper abdominal area has kind of tightened up a little bit more with the breast implants. And those were like some of the issues that I wanted to resolve with it, and he was able to find a resolution for me, and for that I'm very grateful. I went to the Eisman Plastic Surgery Center in Houston, Texas. I have my PCP, and then I have my hormone replacement therapy provider, and my hormone replacement therapy provider did assist me with finding plastic surgeons who did do trans women, male to female breast augmentations. I had a list of like 15 plastic surgeons. From there, I narrowed it down to my top 5. And Eisman Plastic Surgery did have the best kind of before and afters that I saw. And so I saved him for last because like I think my mind was kind of already set for that specific clinic. But I met with the other 4. I did consultations. Main issue with the other ones, my last 2 were my top 2. The other 3, I think 2 of them were here in Austin, 1 was in San Antonio, and then 2 were in Houston. And so I had always been told from friends, both other trans women and other just like my girlfriends who've had their boobs done, all had gone to Houston. So I kind of was like already leaning more towards Houston just because I feel like it's better. Eisman Plastic Surgery Center was the only one that I felt actually was like listening and attentive to what I wanted going into this. Like they listened to what I was trying to accomplish aesthetically. They listened to what I was comfortable with and what exactly I wanted for my body. The other 4 clinics I wasn't too sold on. I didn't feel like I was heard. I didn't feel like I was seen. And this is nothing to them. I just think that they were, you know, I do notice that with consultations, they're in and out. They, you know, they hear what you want. They look at you and they say, this is what we think is best for you. With Eisman Plastic Surgery, it was, they heard what I wanted. They informed me about the process, and then they said they like would ask me like, okay, what are you looking to accomplish aesthetically? And then once those conversations were being had, that's kind of what sold me on them, just because like then I felt really heard, I felt seen. But let me tell you, waking up post-surgery and them telling you like, yeah, we had to go 600 cc's, when in my mind I was only gonna get like 400 and something, I was like, this is a lot to process in the moment. And then I think the days following, I was like very emotional about it, because I was like, I made a mistake. Like, I made a mistake. This is way too big. This is not what I wanted. Have surgery, and then the very next day you have your post-op. And in my post-op, I did mention to them that like they are a little bit bigger than I was expecting. But they assured me, they were like, listen, just trust the process. We promise you they're going to look fine. And sure enough, I'm extremely happy where I'm at now. I'm glad I trusted the process, and I'm happy. Like, I'm very happy with everything. I think they look amazing. I think they look great. They feel great. I feel great. I don't know. I just feel so like I'm already very much a confident person, but I just feel like this kind of has like really boosted my confidence to the point where I'm acting up. I'm like, we are in the summer. Get me to a body of water. Get me on a boat. I'm so happy. I am so glad I did this. Shout out to my family who was with me. My mom, my dad, my aunt, my little cousins, my brothers, everyone stepped up for me to make sure I was taken care of, make sure I had everything I needed. My family was in Houston. I was able to stay there and recover for a week. And then like the following, so like you have so post-op appointment is the very next day after surgery, and then a week later you go back to get the sutures and drains or whatever else you may have taken care of. And I stayed in Houston for a week and recovered, and then once I was cleared to drive, I drove back to Austin, which was pretty much literally like after my 1 week post-op. And now I don't go back until another 3 months or something like that. Yeah, 3 months. In 3 months I go back. We have another check. Right now I am in still recovery. I massage daily, so I have to push them together on a daily basis to keep my breast pocket tight into the front. So I'm usually very much sore after that, and yeah. So I posted on my Instagram story when I went and had my initial consultation on March 20th. I have 6 questions. Okay. I posted a lot of DMs asking about my transition, about being trans, so thought what better way to answer some of your questions than have a little Q&A session. I said no question was off limits. I will answer anything within reason. And I had 6 responses. So what work have I had done so far? This is my first surgical transition. I haven't had any transitional surgeries up until now. Everything has been strictly hormone replacement therapy is the only transition, plus therapy, obviously. But those are the only things that I had done in my transition so far. Now this is my first surgical one. How does your family feel about all of this? Like I said, my family was very supportive. Literally everyone showed up and helped me through this, talked me through this. They were in their own way there for me as much as they could be, just because, like, you know, not everyone could go to Houston and be there for me the entire time. But pretty much my immediate family, so that is my mom, my dad, my brother, my little cousins who I call my little sister, and my aunt. Those are my immediate family. They were all there. They all showed up for me. They all supportive, and they all accept me. And that's honestly a huge privilege to be able to say that. What surgeries are you getting? So this one's kind of tricky. Surgery really does scare me, so I try my best to avoid surgery or going under the knife. Obviously, this is an elective surgery, so I made the choice to do it. As of right now, I am working that out in therapy. I haven't really decided what other surgeries I'm going to get. Facially, I don't really feel like I need to. I've also talked to Eisman, Dr. Eisman, and he agreed that I really he didn't feel that I need much facial surgery, if any, at that. I think he said maybe if I wanted to tweak some things, we could address it with some filler, but he really didn't feel the need I needed to go under the knife or anything. I think the only surgery outside of the big surgery would be like a hairline thing, just to kind of like give myself a little bit more of a feminine hairline. But even at that, like I always have hats on, so it's like it doesn't really bug me or bother me as much right now. How big am I going? Initially, like I said, I had agreed to 400. What was it like? I think it was between 450 and 495 cc is what we had agreed upon whenever we were doing my measurements. But I ended up going with 600 cc's, which right now it's up in the air on my cup size. They can't really guarantee cup size when you have a breast augmentation. They can just tell you the cc's because it's not always accurate as to, like, in the healing process as to what you'll end up being. So yeah, that is what I ended up getting with 600 cc's, and you get a little ID whenever you get your boobs get an ID. How long have you been transitioning? How did you figure out you were trans? Ooh, this is we're gonna finish on my phone because my SD card is at its limit, so here we are. But the question was, how did I know I was trans and how long have I been transitioning? I have a whole blog post on the Skinny Confidential talking about like me coming to terms with being trans and kind of a deeper inside look on my emotions and going into transitioning. This one's a little bit personal. I didn't know if I wanted to answer it, but the last one is, I think I've talked about it. I think I talk about it in the vlog actually. But the last question is, am I getting bottom surgery? This is a difficult thing to talk about just because, like, I think that there's aspects of it that are very personal. I don't know. Like I said, surgeries they do very much scare me, so I don't want to. I'm very like hesitant when doing elective surgeries just because, like, it is, I mean, obviously a breast augmentation is not that bad, but bottom surgery is very intense and extensive, and I struggle with making that decision now, and I do talk about this in therapy a lot. I think ultimately, for now, I am holding off on making that decision. Honestly, it's a blur. Anything that happens like pre-surgery. Yeah, that is my update. I don't know what else to talk about. I'm on a social media hiatus right now. I do think I talk about this in the vlog too. I'm on a social media hiatus, and it's been very nice to be on this little hiatus, but it's also made me like kind of fall in love with like long form vlogging, and I don't want to say that vlogs are back but you might see some vlogs pop up. I think that's it for now. I have a lot of footage that I need to edit now, and then I will upload this as soon as I get it edited. I do owe you guys an update in life and things in general. This is obviously a big update that we don't have to address. Hopefully I'll see y'all in the next vlog. Bye y'all.